Welcome to Tech Blueprint, a window that lets you know the latest technology news in the world. Trump's proposed measures to restrict Chinese semiconductors have been continuously deepened by the Biden team, and Sino-US trade has fallen into an irreconcilable state. In the end, there will definitely be a winner. As Biden is about to leave office, he has thrown another big problem to China. Recently, the relevant U.S. departments have issued the most stringent export ban, which covers an increasingly wide range of Chinese companies, covering more than 140 Chinese companies. But this time the Chinese top leaders will not indulge them. Within less than 24 hours of the implementation of the ban, China has given countermeasures. The official statement, in the future, the export control of dual-use materials will be strengthened, among which core raw materials such as gallium-germanium, superhard materials, and graphite will be strictly reviewed in subsequent shipments and implemented to end users and users including any country and region. Shortly after China launched countermeasures, the G7 countries began to sit still and shouted to China at the meeting, asking China not to control rare metals. This move will cause tension in the global supply chain. These 7 countries jumped out at this time. Obviously, they had no other options. The reason why China launched a reciprocal countermeasure was entirely because of the latest ban implemented by the Biden team. But these countries could not confront the United States head-on, so they could only put their hopes of getting rid of restrictions on China. But it would be too naive to solve the problem in this way. In the past, China was still wary of the G7 countries. After all, countries such as Britain, the United States, France, and Germany have a pivotal position in the global science field. But after they joined the American camp, China no longer had any hope for them. Naturally, China doesn't have to care about their shouting from a distance. What they care about is the lack of key raw materials, which will cause multiple local industries to shut down, not the so-called destruction of global cooperation. This time, China naturally has a warning meaning in all countries. European countries have not directly participated in the issuance of the ban. They have stood as innocents throughout the process, sending out signals of being coerced by the United States to the outside world, thereby gaining China's forgiveness in market cooperation. In the past few years, China has also tried to cooperate with them on advanced systems, but now it is no longer needed. So naturally there is no need to be polite. China has not given room. As long as any country and region abides by the rules, does not transfer these core raw materials imported from China to the United States, or does not use them in sensitive military fields, China welcomes these countries to come and purchase. As allies of the United States, it is impossible for the G7 countries to get rid of American technology. Therefore, it is difficult to control the degree required by China in the future. China is the victim in the whole process. However, after the foreign media's propaganda, China has become the biggest villain. Western countries will eventually suffer the consequences of maintaining market competition in an inappropriate way. In the process of the United States implementing chip rules, European countries can completely provide technology authorization by taking advantage of loopholes, but they did not do so, which shows that they do not want China's semiconductors to rise. Now that the bottom line has been touched, it is no wonder that China cuts off the back road. In the past, the United States and Western countries have always used their technological advantages to engage in technological hegemony against China and other countries. China has spent a huge price, but what it gets in return is not the most advanced technology. Over-reliance on chips and systems will eventually provide them with a way to leave a back door. If China does not achieve autonomy one day, it will be difficult for China to sleep soundly. Faced with China's strong response, the G7 countries are also speechless. Now that China has played the trump card of rare earths, it is destined to achieve a comeback against the wind. It is difficult for the United States to affect China through the supply chain. In short, the United States has issued the most stringent export ban involving more than 140 Chinese companies. China has countered by strengthening the export control of rare metals. The G7 countries called for a stop, but China ignored it. The technological hegemony of the United States and the West has been countered. China will achieve autonomy, and the trump card of rare earths will help to turn the tide against the wind. China is showing the world with concrete actions that it is a promoter of peace, a booster of development, and a defender of the international order. The G7 summit is like a key gathering of Western powers. They can indulge in the glory of the past, but they cannot stop the pace of history. In the world of economy, China has become a key driving force for global economic growth. Whether it is scientific and technological innovation, or the transformation and upgrading of traditional manufacturing to high-end, whether it is the flourishing digital economy, or the active and vigorous promotion of green energy, China's industrial layout is becoming more and more perfect, like a strong warm current, infusing tremendous power into the recovery of the global economy. In many international cooperation projects, Chinese companies have won the recognition and respect of the world with their leading technology and efficient management, like shining stars. The world has changed, and China is no longer the country that was bullied in the past. China will continue to move forward along the path of peaceful development and defend the country's sovereignty, security, and development interests. We will embrace the world with a more open mind and move towards the future with a more confident attitude. What do you think about this?